Parshas Pinchas. The end of this week's Parsha details the Musaf sacrifice that is offered on the Yom Tovim. We have a real discussion of many of the Yom Tovim this week's Parsha. The Hasidic Svarim bring down that this is a special Shabbos, special week. Why? Because you potentially, as you read from the Kriyas HaTorah about all the different Yom Tovim, you potentially can grab the great Kedusha that is applicable to all these Yom Tovim. So this type of Shabbos, we maybe could grab the Kedusha of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and Pesach. It's unbelievable. A tremendous opportunity for all of us. But we're going to point out a diak here, referring to the sacrifices when it comes to the 7th month, because the months of the year begin in Nisan. Although the year begins in Tishrei, the months of the year begin in Nisan. So Pesach is the first month of the year. We will start from the beginning of Perach of Test, the 7th month of the year. V'chodesh hashvi, the 7th month of the year, Bechel HaChodesh, the first day of the month is what? Rosh Hashanah. And it gives you the details of Rosh Hashanah. A few pasukim later, pasuk Zayin, uve'asal HaChodesh, the 10th month of what? LaChodesh hashvi, 10th day of the month of Chodesh hashvi is Yom Kippur. A few pasukim later, pasuk Yud Beis, uve'chamisha asa boy, chamisha asa yom LaChodesh hashvi, of the 15th day of the 7th month. That's Sukkot. But here we see that although in Rosh Hashanah it already established that we had discussed in the 7th month, when it came to Yom Kippur, day 10 of the month, it came to Sukkot, day 15th of the month, it added on that, by the way, it's the 7th month. Let's go back a second. What about when it has Pesach? By Pesach in the chapter before, it says V'chodesh harishon in the first month, Ba'arba asa yom l'chodesh, in the 14th day of the month, which is Erev Pesach, is when we bring the Korban Pesach. Something we discussed in the past. Erev Pesach is when we bring the Korban Pesach, although we eat it Pesach by night. The next pasuk says, what about Uva Chamish Hasiyim? That means when Yom Tov starts, the 15th, L'chodesh Hazeh, Chag Shavas Yom, it's 7 days of matzahs. But here it says L'chodesh Hazeh. It doesn't say the Chodesh Harishon, small diak. In the other 3 locations relevant to Rosh Hashanah starting Yom Kippur and Sukkot, it says HaChodesh Hashvi, the 7th month. And here, when it says it the second time, the Chodesh, it doesn't say the first month, Pesach the first month, and the Korban Pesach the first month. No, it says this month. A little bit of a minor detail changed. The Meshech Chochmah points it out. He says this has to mean something. He says, therefore, this proves that instead of saying, it doesn't say the first month, because it's not always during the first month. Pesach is not during the first month. You hear what he's saying? It says you bring the sacrifice on the 14th day of the first month. That makes sense. But it shall be celebrated for 7 days on this month. It doesn't say the first month, because sometimes Pesach is not celebrated for 7 days during the first month. Does that make any sense? He said, yeah. He says that Chizkiah Melech, he answers with this a bomb question. Chizkiah Melech, we spoke about this by Pesach Sheni, that Chizkiah Melech became into power and he began to cleanse the Beis HaMikdash because his father had made it an idolatrous place. So he began to cleanse it. He didn't finish cleansing it until the 16th day of the month. That means after Pesach already began. The Beis HaMikdash was not yet qualified for sacrifices until the 16th of the month. And then it says during the 2nd month, he told him to bring the Korban Pesach, and he told him to celebrate for 7 days. 7 days in the 2nd month of the year. That's Iyar. So we understand possibly why you bring the Korban Pesach in the 2nd month. If you couldn't bring a Korban Pesach in the 1st month, there's a concept of a Pesach Sheni. You bring it in the 2nd month. But why are you celebrating for 7 days? Pesach Sheni on a regular year is only 1 day. We know that even today. So how did it become 7 days? So the Meshech Chochmah explains, based on the Yerushalmi, that when Pesach occurs for the first time in a year, Pesach meaning the Korban Pesach is brought by the majority of the people, not if that the whole Klal Yisrael could not bring it, so therefore they all had to bring it. That majority all had to bring it for the first time. That is when the Yom Tov gets celebrated. It is not based on the calendar year only. It is based on the sacrifice of the Korban Pesach. So therefore, when the Torah introduces us to the Korban Pesach, it says on the 14th day of the 1st month. That's when it should be brought, by the way. You are to bring the Korban Pesach. And 7 days shall be celebrated in this month, not the 1st month. This month means if you brought the Korban Pesach during Nisan, the 1st month of the year, then of course this month gets celebrated for 7 days. But if you could not bring the Korban Pesach in the 1st month and you only brought it during the 2nd month, how would that happen when there was no Beis HaMikdash available? Then the 7 days also would be celebrated during the 2nd month as well. And with this, he answers the question of Chizkiah Melech of how they celebrated the 2nd month during Pesach of Iyar. Again, this is to teach us the beauty of the Torah, how every nuanced difference, minor difference that you could read your entire life and never realize that difference is not only a difference in wording, but it's a difference that we could be taught practical halachas from. We said in the past that if Mashiach wouldn't come by Pesach by night, we hope that it will come before the 2nd month of the year, and we would celebrate a full Pesach by Pesach Sheni, because the Yom Tov of Pesach is based on the Korban Pesach, not based on the calendar year. Have a great Shabbos.